Well, hello to all of our wonderful, generous, and attractive patrons. Enjoy this early access list. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. We appreciate each and every one of you. AEW is toddling into its terrible twos across a tightrope of TNT. They didn't have any matches involving zombies, and I didn't realize that was a bar I needed major American promotions to clear. Seriously though, AEW is flourishing right now, going unopposed on Wednesday nights, hitting the million viewer mark on more than one occasion, and their last two pay-per-views pulled in the promotion's highest buy rates to date. This is great. Having another major player in town is good news for everyone, wrestling fans, wrestlers, and especially the people at WWE are releasing with what now appears to be grim regularity. It's not been a perfect year. AEW still has stuff to learn about medical standards during live broadcasts and how to build exploding rings, but even then, holy moly, this was a tough list to put together. They've got some really good wrestlers over there, you guys. I'm Adam, hailing from partsFUNknown, and these are the 10 best matches from AEW Year 2, The Wrath of Khan. But before we kick into the list, we notice that some of you watch our videos without subscribing. We get it, button pressing is hard, but it does make a pretty big difference to the kind of ad revenue we can pull in, so if you could just click that button and the bell, all those lovely buttons, we'd appreciate it. Okay, thank you, bye. Honorable mention, the great match, shame about the finish, twins. Just wanted to make a quick shout out to the barbed wire exploding death match and the blood and guts match. Both seem destined to be consigned to the popular opinion dustbin based purely on shoddily executed finishes, i.e. laughable shit boom booms and a poorly shot stunt fall. This is a shame as both matches were very good up until those endings, very different from what you normally see in mainstream American wrestling, and featuring character peak performances from Eddie Kingston and MJF respectively, but the only thing they remember is the finish. Not my words, the words of my friend and lover, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Number 10, Brian Cage and Ricky Starks versus Sting and Darby Allin Revolution. A sizzling take now. Aside from the Firefly Funhouse, this might be my favorite cinematic match of the entire pandemic. I know, and it didn't even have Otis rubbing himself with ham or ninjas or anything. It's just cool. Darby Allin's cool. Sting is still cool somehow, catching a bat thrown from across a warehouse and going old boy on Taz's nephew. Darby Allin Spider-Manning off a brick wall before plunging to his death. Powerhouse Hobbs turning up in a Curryman disguise for no reason. Sting and Darby arriving in a way that looks like David Lynch directing Back to the Future. I just really liked all of it, sorry. Some fans might see cinematic matches as wrestling with cheat codes, but hell, Sting's still out there taking power bombs at 60. You could argue that Sting and Darby's match at Double or Nothing was a better watch with the benefit of a joyous crowd and silly Sting doing silly things, but the street fight pipped it, for me, just. Number 9, FTR and the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros and the Butcher and the Blade. Fighter Fest. So many things. Not even half the tag division as well. God, tag team wrestling's the best. With the FTR Bucks storyline yet to go off the rails, AEW told a pretty great story here of everyone and their mother wanting to see FTR face the Bucks, but playing with that expectation by having them fight alongside each other, and not just that, but really effectively too, until the end, of course. With plenty of great double team spots featuring an FTR teaming with a Jackson, the super kick fake out to the DDT, it's just a chef's kiss of a spot. Add to that the Lucha Bros, Rey Fenix being everywhere all of the time, Penta slapping the marrow from everyone's bones, as well as the Butcher and the Blade being there to soak up just a whole bunch of Cirque du Soleil whirly dervish bullshit. And then there's the stupidest, coolest, and stupidest Canadian destroyer of all time. It's just a lot, but sometimes more is more. Number 8, Rey Fenix versus Kenny Omega, New Year's Smash Night 1. Do you think Rey Fenix is going to be AEW champion one day? Like, he's one of the most consistently awesome, consistently inventive wrestlers in the entire world, but doesn't it just feel like he's never going to be AEW champion? Which is a shame, because bloody hell, this AEW championship match is good stuff. Capital G, capital stuff. Omega's first defense since winning it with industry-shifting shenanigans. The winner was never in doubt here, but they sure did have some fun out there. Some bits of this match are so fast-paced, so fluid, but also grounded with a vicious stiffness phrasing, with kicks, knees, and slaps, and snapdragons on the outside, oh no, your neck, horrific German suplexes, oh no, your neck. Also, that knee into a kip up into a super kick was fun. So yeah, it's a bunch of moves, but all the moves are very good. And after the match, the Good Brothers make their AEW debut fun for all the family, as long as your family regularly features on Being the Elite. Number 7, the Young Bucks versus Death Triangle Dynamite. Oh, hello again, Rey Fenix. You get everywhere. There is so much violent dancing in this match. It's a spot fest Sunday with whip spots, crush spots, spot sauce, and a cherry on the spot. But when it's all so beautifully timed and crisp like this, you can't help but just sit there with your mouth hanging open, get that Sunday down yet. This list isn't just going to be a list of Elite Family spot fests, promise, but if flippy is your bag, it doesn't really get much better than this. Could have done without all the cuts to tag teams watching in the stands, TBH, although the crowd chanting "those are fake" at the Bucks Dior Jordans was hilarious. There's just a bit of everything that you expect from the names involved. Dickhead posturing from the Bucks, Rey Fenix doing ludicrous things like just swan-tonning over the top rope to the outside, walking tightropes, hitting thrust kicks mid-tightrope, another crazy, dumb Canadian destroyer, Pac being a vicious, weirdly strong Geordie beastie, the diabolical mask-based finish. It's all here. Tag team wrestling is the best. Number 9, Kenny Omega versus Orange Cassidy versus Pac, Double or Nothing. Double or Nothing was a hell of a show. We've already talked about the Sting match, but also the Stadium Stampede was fun, Hangman Page was over like Rover, and Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston versus the Young Bucks was dangerously close to making this list. Ain't no one cutting promos like Mox and Eddie right now, but match of the night belonged to the AEW title. Omega's first defense in front of a capacity crowd, and it made all the difference in the world. It's one of the best triple threats in recent memory. Everyone's over and everyone's working their arse off, especially and ironically Orange Cassidy, who's out here hitting double Hurricane Ranas and more Superman punches than a litter of Roman Reigns. It also features one of my favorite spots of the year with Omega just yeeting Pac into the corner. Lots of amazing spots, most of which made the most of the triple threat stipulation. There's generally too many fun moments to list them all, just go and watch it again. Number 5, Santana and Ortiz versus Best Friends, Dynamite. Parking lot brawls used to be an excuse to take a whole bunch of shortcuts in a match. A few spots here or there, but then the rest of the match is just some sweaty dudes grunting, walking each other around like they're escorting a drunk friend home, pausing to bash each other's heads into stuff in an endless cycle of tedium. Unrelated shot of Edge and Orton from Mania 36. Not so this match, which is not only an unbelievable amount of fun, but has possibly the funniest closing moment in wrestling TV history. That middle finger man, Gold Star Trent's mom. It was just a day at the office where everything went right. All the spots worked, the sledgehammer lodging in the glass, the windscreen buckling perfectly under Trent after the dual powerbomb, Orange Cassidy emerging from the boot like slacker Gandalf riding in from the east. Creatively violent, violently creative, no shortcuts taken. Number 4, Cody Rhodes versus Mr. Brody Lee, Dynamite. While one of AEW's biggest assets is the variety of matches they produce, you could levy the criticism at them that their matches do have a bit of a samey structure. WWE's mode du jour of keeping everyone looking strong is very short matches with distraction/non-finishes, while AEW pulls all the way in the opposite direction, stuffing matches with arguably too many things to make their stars look good. Thank heavens then that they still have the nous to every once in a while book a match like this, an exhibition squash featuring the biggest star in the company having his dick ripped off by a brand new monster, an unapologetic love letter to Antonio Inoki getting trampled by Vader in New Japan. The late great Mr. Brody Lee demolishes Cody in one of the biggest wrestling shockers of the decade, single-handedly revitalizing the TNT title, Brody, and the Dark Order all in one discus lariat, a joyous, vicious rug pull. Number 3, Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa St. Patrick's Day Slam. Earning the most improved sticker in year 2 is AEW's women's division. It's still not quite to the standard of NXT. It's still lacking in a few areas of its presentation, but the company has made some big strides. Britt Baker becoming champ, the women's eliminator having some really fun matches like Rhea versus Serena Deeb, Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero was a really fun pairing, but the single biggest improvement was bringing Thunder Rosa on board from the NWA. Thunder Rosa is brilliant, and she ended up having one of the best overall rivalries in AEW's history with Baker, the division's strongest character, culminating in a lights-out match at St. Patrick's Day Slam. It's good, bringing a level of bloody brutality that you so rarely see even in Western women's wrestling, with Britt Baker making her boyfriend's death matches look like Sunday at the community center. There's biting of wounds, G's, Death Valley drivers onto ladders, a crimson masked Baker taking a powerbomb onto thumbtacks. It's star cementing stuff and a giant bloody footprint in the right direction for women's wrestling in AEW. Number 2, the Young Bucks versus FTR Full Gear, a comprehensive history of tag team wrestling squeezed into 30 glorious minutes. It's not quite as good as the Revolution tag, but hell, it's close, and that's saying something. After what was, let's be honest, a build that was WWE levels of way more convoluted than a dream match needed to be, this blow-off was everything we always hoped it would be, combining the best traits of both teams, the jaw-dropping spot into intricacy of the Bucks versus the psychological focus of FTR. Not only did both teams do their thing, they even forced a change in their opponents. The relentless limb work to Matt Jackson's ankle forced the Bucks to slow down and wrestle a more emotionally and narratively resonant match than they usually do. And Cash Wheeler ending up courting ruin by going for a flip rather than a fist. It felt like a match that could only be possible with these two specific teams, and that is the highest compliment I can think of for the work each pair has done to build their signature style. AEW continues to reign supreme as the king of tag wrestling, and speaking of, number 1, John Silver, Alex Reynolds, and Adam Page versus the Inner Circle, Brody Lee's celebration of life. I mean, yeah, the strongest possible argument you can make for wrestling being a brief escape from life's cruelty. How wrestling can create a symbol of that cruelty, which can, if only for one night, be defeated with strength and courage and help from dear friends. MJF going off on -1, only for him to make the difference in the finish. The papers, the run-in from Eric Redbeard Rowan. John Silver's best day emerging from one of his worst. It's also beautifully, profoundly silly. Modern wrestling is inextricably linked from the production process. How one of the reasons it's so compulsive is watching real-life decision-making and drama seep onto the camera. It's also one of the reasons why there's so much drama around AEW, because not only is it a wrestling show, but it's also the enemy of WWE. As an isolated match, this is a good to very good TV wrestling match. As a piece of real life, it's genuinely, deeply moving and helpful. The post-match is... it is. See you down the road. Well done, AEW. Here's to year 3. And that's our list. What were your favorite matches from AEW's second year? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and share this video around, and subscribe to partsFUNknown for more silly wrestling content. Jam that jam.